Hi, I'm Mahibi. I'm the C Coach, and welcome back to part 3 of the coaching approach to successful assignments. In the previous video, we were looking at managing objectives throughout the assignment to support the repatriation of the assignee. So let's look at what we'll be covering together in this video. So we previously, as I said, we're looking at managing those objectives, and in this video, we are going to be looking at proactive career management and planning. So, for a successful return on our investment, the organisation needs to avoid two scenarios that I've identified. The first is where the employee is in a mind frame to resign following repatriation. So, essentially, their mindset, they've already checked out. So, they're not following this feeling of loyalty and wanting to stay with the organisation once they return home. It also means that they're not fulfilling their potential value and you're not going to see a return on your investment. The second scenario is where the employee hands in their notice within a defined period that's not a measure of success for you as the organization. So what is the acceptable statistic? How far along after repatriation is it acceptable for the organization to essentially receive the resignation of the employee? And actually, how is that translating into your current statistics? So we know that 38% of individuals, as I've said before, will resign within the first year, 50% within the second year. What is a good number for you? Have you even thought about it? One of the main reasons for people leaving is the lack of recognition. They don't have a motivating and inspiring career path upon returning into home destination. This means that actually what we want to do is create a challenging role for the employee to feel excited about when they come home. So when they come back, it could be more senior, they have more responsibility, but what they're not returning to is the same job role. So the first point here is so important, again, this idea that the objectives are the skeleton to career planning. The checkpoints throughout the assignment may naturally allow that open discussion on career planning, and the assignee needs a clear roadmap on their career trajectory. At these checkpoints, we're not only facilitating career planning and revisiting those objectives, but it's an opportunity to take it wider, to understand how the evolution of this person now translates into their needs, their desires, and essentially, what is it that the person is looking for in the next phase of their life? We need to think about how this represents their potential. And this is really, really important when we're thinking about it in terms of a longer term assignment, because there is more change that has occurred within the person. So let's look at the next point. Defining an attractive new job role on repatriation, exploring promotions within or outside the current business function. This could be supported by adopting a collaborative approach with the employee. For example, redefining how we treat the assignee at this point, thinking about potentially re-interviewing them. Let's not be afraid to push outside of the comfort zone of the normal processes, how things have always worked. If we were to think innovatively and treat the employee like a new candidate, we're essentially treating them and advancing their potential based on the skill sets and all of the soft skills, all of the competencies, all of the attributes, all of the qualities that we can see that sits in front of us. So we're essentially treating the employee like a new candidate based on what we see to realize the potential of this person. They've grown, they've developed in destination, and they're not the same person as the start of assignment. We've already talked about it, but how direct is the organisation about asking if the employee wants to stay permanently in destination? Is this a question that's even openly asked? Do we avoid it just in case the employee says, yes, actually, that's what I want to do. Or are we avoiding the question because, that's just not how things work. That's not in line with our policy. That means also losing skill sets back at home. It's crucial, as I said, that we push outside of our boundaries and the normal processes. So what if the organisation asks this question outright? It's critical to revisit this because we're understanding what's important to the person, to their wider family. And if we don't face this question head on, we are risking losing our employee further down after repatriation, potentially that first year or that second year resignation. That person's going to return home with their family sad, disappointed, unhappy, deeper in that grieving process. And potentially we're opening up an opportunity for that person to seek new adventures with another organisation. The individual wants to feel assurance, that word again, that their voice matters and that they can confidently communicate their desires with management and HR. We've covered this in detail, but it is so important that the person doesn't hold back for fear of judgment, for fear that perhaps they are perceived to be unappreciative of the time that they've had in assignment. They don't want to feel judged. So we really want to support the assignee and reassure them that whatever they communicate to us, it's okay, and it's as simple as that. It's okay. This is really where we put the person at the heart of the process. And by doing so, we are allowing an open, communicative culture that's supporting our people. So let's grab our pen and paper and look at those reflective questions that I've put together. So, are you facilitating openness and safety to discuss the opportunity of a permanent stay? Avoiding this could mean losing your people further down the line. How are you currently managing the changing needs and desires of the person, especially at this stage, considering the evolution of this person's skills and experiences? What's your turnover rate on repatriation? Do you log this? An interesting insight. And can you be doing more to successfully plan your repatriation at this phase? If I was to add another question, what's your checklist here as well? What is missing in your existing policies? What's your key quick wins? And defining key action points. What's those projects, small, big, that require collaboration and sign off from the rest of the business? I'm Mahibi. Thank you very much for joining me in part 3.2, proactive career management and planning. And in the next video, we're going to look at the 100-day reintegration plan. I'll see you then.